Hello everyone. Uh, it's been a very long time since I uploaded the last video, and today what we are going to do is a pretty basic, simple thing. And in general, a lot of people ask me that how to handle clicks onto a recycler view. So what I have done is like I have created a basic application in which I have an activity in which I have a layout file which have a recycler view and nothing else. That's all. So let's match parent to match parent, so we do not need any constant here. So let me show you how it looks, how the application looks. So if you're thinking that what kind of an application I'm using to mirror my Android application or Android device, so I'm using Screen Copy. It's an open source tool made by Genymotion. It's available on GitHub, or you can install it via Brew or Choco on Windows. So this is the application that we'll be working upon. So it's a basic application, has nothing complex in it. So what we will be doing is we will be just clicking on an item and then passing that item's data onto the activity itself, and then we can play with the data. So basically I'll just tap on it and I will show a toast message or something like that. So it is a pretty small video. So let's go through the code that I've already written in here. So it has a text adapter. So let's go. RecyclerView have basically three components: adapter, manager, layout manager, and a view holder. So text adapter is responsible for inflating the view holders for that particular index of an item. So what I'm passing a text data, list of text data. Text data is nothing, just a model class in which I have just text and ID. And if you go into the text adapter again, you can see that I am extending it from the recycler.adapter.viewHolder, and it has a view holder, and that view holder is defined in here, which takes a text view, and there's a function called bind data, in which I'm just sending that text data class to inflate the text on the text view. So if you go onto the text adapter, you can see that on the number of items that I'm sending from the get item count is the length of the text items, and on bind view holder, I'm just calling the bind data of that view holder with the particular specific position. So let's see that. Let's go into the activity again. So here I have a method called init adapter with data, in which I created the data list instance and update of the text data list, and inserted like 20 items into it and passed that text data list onto the text adapter. So what we can do is and inflated the linear layout manager, and then I applied the adapter and the layout manager. So apply is like a syntactic sugar kind of stuff. You can always do with data list dot adapter, then text adapter, and then similarly layout manager and linear layout manager. So I just don't like this syntax, and this makes it more readable, so I'm using the apply here. So pretty basic stuff. Now let's go to, you can see that on clicking on any of the item, it does nothing as of now. So what we'll do is we will be using the callbacks as of now, because this thing can be achieved with multiple things, like such as an event. You can always use an RX event bus, or like normal event bus by the green DAO or green robot. So what we'll do is we'll just make an interface item click listener. And we will have a method on item clicked, and we'll pass on the text data. So no, we cannot use the data as it is a reserved keyword, so we will have to use the text. That's my mistake. Text data. Now we will have add in the function here. Now our click listener interface is ready. Now let's go to the text adapter and pass it along as a constructor parameter. item click listener, item click listener. Now as soon as our item click listener is like passed on from the activity, what we can do is holder dot. Now if you see that I can access the item view from here, and then I can like do the find view by id, then then I can specify text view, then I can like do r dot id dot string text dot set on click listener. So I can do this thing if I just want to capture the clicks on the text view itself, or even though I can do it in more way, I can just make it a public variable, and if I go out to the adapter itself again, then you can see that I can access the holder dot text view dot. Now I can access the set on click listener. But I do not need to capture the clicks on the text view. I will be needing to capture the clicks on the complete view holder or the complete item. So I will be using the item view dot set on click listener. And what I'll do is I'll just use my interface instance, and I'll call the on item click list on item click and text items, and I'll pass on the position. Now what we have to do is we have to implement this interface onto our activity. Let's implement the interface in here, item click listener. Now it will ask us to implement the members. We will implement the members. Now whatever the data being passed by the instance of the item click listener from the adapter, we will have the access to that data. So now our text adapter constructor takes another argument. We'll pass in this at the rate main activity, and because this current class extends the item click listener, it will be passing along the instance of that particular class. So now if I say that let's here log.eprint and data, and let's see that text data dot to string, and let's see if it shows something to us. Let's run it again. Now if you can see my logcat, here is the logcat. I'll choose the application, show only threaded application selected. Now if I click on the text 1, I see text 1 and id 1, text 2 and id 2, text 3 and id 3, text 4 and id 4. Now so this is the general manipulation of data. Now like this is a pretty basic idea about the click listeners onto the recycler view, and I can just show a message toast dot make text this at the redman activity, and text data dot text, sorry, and length, sorry, toast dot length long dot show. Now it will just show the data onto the view as a toast. If I click on data, you can see the text 1 is displayed. On after clicking the another one, it will show the text 2 and s and so on. So now fundamentally this is not this is a pretty basic niche case that comes into the recycler view, that you have a list of items and you just have to click on an item and you have to pass the data to another view. But there might be some times where you have to make changes or manipulation into a particular row or particular index or an item. So what you can do is let's make a simple item count. By default this item count will be 0, and you can increase or decrease this item count. So I'll make it this way, item count, and let's go to text adapter and main activity and just pass along the data as 0. So by default the item count will always be 0. Let's assume that in text item, instead of wrapping the data with match parent or the card view, let's wrap it into a relative layout. Sorry. If you just need to have the basic fundamental idea that how the click works, then this video is over for you. But if you need to know, if you need to understand that how can you modify or like manipulate the data of particular index of a recycler view, then go ahead and watch this as well. Match parent, hide wrap content. I'll just paste it in here. Sorry, I just copied the wrong data. And let's make a linear layout with width of what match parent. Nah, let's make it wrap content. Height will be wrap content. And let's do one thing, and let's add a weight sum, because we will be having we will be having two items. One is the let's have a three items. One is to increase the count, one is to decrease the count at the particular index. So weight sum will be 3. It will be having 3 items. And let's make a button with 0 dp, height wrap content, id, let's say at the rate id, and let's say minus. So it will be decreasing the quantity or the total count that we have in the text data, the item count. Let's again go to the view holder, not the view holder. Let's go to the active XML file, and let's add the weight layout weight to be 1, align parent and to be true. We want it to be and center and parent true. Center vertical true. Center vertical true. Okay. So, and we will add the text as minus, and we'll add the spacing in here. You can always extract this as a string resource, and we will have a text view that will show the item count, weight 1, id will be item count, and let's text gravity center, text alignment center. I don't know. And let's again copy this button as well. Let's add and make it as plus. Let's just remove these unnecessary alignments. We don't have to make it aesthetically pleasing or something like that. And let's do the tools ns, copy it, and okay, tools ns is already done, so we can use the tools text to see how it looks, and we will add 0 in here. Now you can, if you go into the layout, and you can see that we have 3 buttons, and a sample data, and let's make it to start off id, and give it an id of controls, sorry, my bad. Let's paste it in here. So you can see that now we have properly aligned sample data and control buttons. And do this thing as well, text alignment center, so that we have that 0 into the center of the view. And I think that will be all, and let's run it again and see how it looks. Then we'll code for the functionality. So the basic idea is, as soon as you increase or decrease the count, you just have to grab on the item from the recycler view, just have to increase the count. Now you can see that we have this view in particular, which has all the controls, and you can see that I can click on this, but we do not have that the text, because we use the tools text, which just shows the placeholder onto the XML view. Now let's go to the let's go to adapter, and onto the bind data. Let's make another text view, and let's make it count text, and it will be item count, and two buttons, add button, decrease or minus button, sorry. Now what we have to do is add, and this is minus. Let's verify this we are pointing to the correct item into the view. Let's go to the view holder again and bind the text view dot, not sorry, count text dot text to be text data dot item count. Now it is an integer value, so we will have to wrap it into Kotlin's syntactic sugar for, yeah, that will be all. So so this is what we have to do, and we had to do. So let's because we do not need text view, and not need the count text as well onto the to be accessed by the object directly, so we'll make them private. But we'll be using the add button and minus button onto the adapter, so that as soon as the adapter gets the instance of the button and you tap on it, we can call the interfaces method of. So now we will just remove this. Okay, we will just remove this. We don't need it. Let's make minus, and to keep it fairly simple, what we'll do is data text data to be text data, and I'll also pass in the position of the item into the adapter, so that I can always notify the item changed at a particular position. This is minus, this is add. Cool. So we will not manage the things like we cannot go below the 0 or something like that. We just have the basic idea, basic fundamental implementation of minus and add. It can go to any number, or any positive integer number or a negative integer. So let's go to negative number. So let's go to text adapter, and we don't have this now. So what we have to do is holder dot add button dot set on click listener, and we will just pass on the item click listener dot add, and we'll pass on the text items position. I can always figure out the position from the data itself, but to remove that boilerplate from the adapter, from the activity, I'm passing it from the adapter itself. There can be multiple cases in which you just need to well aware of the position of the current item, because if there are items that keeps on changing and index keeps on changing, then you should always do it from the position where you have the latest resource or latest data source. But in here we have the static data, so I'm not worried about that. Item click listener dot minus and text items position. So this is how we have called in those methods. Let's go to main activity and implement those two methods, minus and add. Remove this unused code, and now what we have to do is text data dot item count plus equals to 1. Now that item count is a val, so we cannot reassign it. Make it a var so that we can assign it again. Now go to text main activity. Now what you can do is, you have changed this item, and this item is directly put into your adapter. You just have to notify that item has changed. So what you can do is what's the name of the adapter? That is text adapter. Text adapter dot notify item change at index. Notify item changed at position, and position will be the position that you sent in from the. So this is the core concept, because this is the key idea about adapter, RecyclerView adapter, so that you can notify the particular item to be reloaded again, and it will just call on the bind method for that particular item, and we can do the minus equals to 1. And this is how we added and subtracted. Oh, sorry, I just did the wrong code at the wrong place. So now adds the item count, and minus decreases the item count. So let's run it again and see if this works. And if this works, then you are good to go with a basic what I can say, like basic setup of a RecyclerView. So by default we had a 0 item count. If you go onto the text data, and you can see that by default we initialized it with a 0 item count. Now if you add in 1, 2, 3, now you recycle it, you go back again, you see the value retained in here. If you go and then minus 3 minus 5, you go then here 2 3 4 2 3 4 3 2 3 3 2 plus 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 plus. So this is how you handle the clicks at particular item for a particular position of an item in a RecyclerView. And this particular idea is to like make like shopping carts in which you have multiple items, and you can increase the quantity and decrease the quantity. So this is how it is done, and I hope this video was helpful for you. Just click on the subscribe button, and if you have any suggestions for the next video, you can always put them into the comment box below. See you around.